Hey guys, Bigrat310 here again with this long-awaited today Q&A. Yes, this will be a long video. Got a lot of questions, and I like to answer them all in one video. Put all the questions in the description box. Make it 2 to 3 parts instead of stopping at 10 and then going on, because the jobbers that do that just suck at Q&As, Bigrat. Okay, now let's just get to this Q&A. Sorry if there's going to be a lot of noise, and sorry if I'm going to pause this video a lot because there's a lot going on right now. It's a madhouse. I'm here isolated to get away from all that. I did want to make a video saying 15 reasons why Wrestling Jesus Returns sucks, but then I had problems with it, and the camera was annoying me at the time, so I just said, fuck it. And I also want to plug the breakdown. Awesome videos by two very smart guys on here. One's name's Jake, one's name's Brian. They review Ring of Honor shows, Dragon Gate shows, TNA shows. They talk about whatever they want to talk about. Very interesting, very nice to listen to. Indie fan perspective. But, they always try to make different videos. Human Tornado retiring, Christopher Daniels, back in Ring of Honor, and the preview for the rant on the New York getting all the big shows, which I like a lot as well. Two very, very, very smart guys that have very little subscribers. And I want to plug them right here, right now in a video that will probably get a lot of views from my channel. So please go subscribe to The Breakdown. Okay, yeah, great guys. Subscribe to them. Okay, Q&A time. The first question is from, I always call her Mtisit, but I think it's Mtisit. The YouTube shooters always complain about the WWE style of matches and how it's so slow and boring. Do you think this has anything to do with the developmental system, and do you think this can improve? I don't really think that's a problem with the developmental system, because many great guys like Jim Cornette and Danny Davis were running the developmental system for WWE. Many very, very, very talented workers came in, but it's still while they were talented in the ring, the psychology of the matches, the storytelling was kind of the same, and it was still the same style in that sense. Kind of like what Mr. Narrator and True Sir were talking about. It's really WWE's own style of wrestling, and I think it's boring because the fans aren't as into it. Like True Sir was saying, the fans aren't as into most of the wrestlers on the roster. They're only into around 30% of the wrestlers. So when they do this style, the fans don't want to get behind a wrestler because they're not into the wrestler, and therefore dead crowd, boring matches, because it's a boring style in the first place, and the crowd's the only reason supposed to elevate that. And plus, all the top guys right now, really, Randy Orton, Triple H, even John Cena, they all wrestle a specific style of storytelling, of slow, I said Cena to a degree, I guess, but more Triple H and Orton, a methodical style to their matches, and that, since that's the main match, and we see Triple H, Orton, and Cena in the main event all the time, this style becomes more redundant and more not interesting. 187 Aries, 187. Who were the best heels from the last 5 years in Ring of Honor? CM Punk, Austinariesmark, Danielson in 06. Danielson in 06. God, what was my other name? I had other names. Nigel, I guess I'll say that, in 08. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say Prince Nana. Not going to say the Embassy, but just combined of 05 and now, great manager. Best manager in wrestling right now, probably. TNAFutureofWrestling. Why are wrestling fans delusional / hypocritical? I think a lot of wrestling fans might be hypocritical because that's TNAFutureofWrestling for you right there. No, not that he's hypocritical. That's the type of question he would ask. That they see different styles of wrestling at different points, and maybe the mood that they're in, they'll like this, and then a few months later they'll hate it, but it's the same style, this and that. In that sense, delusional, because I think they're wishing for more, they're hoping for more in the wrestling business as much as possible, as close to anything perfect as possible. And in that sense, they are dreamers and therefore are delusional. I have to answer this question. What do you want from me? MadManko17, not taking into account Mike's skills or charisma, which do you prefer, Davey Richards or Bryan Danielson? Bryan Danielson. While Davey Richards is great, Davey Richards, has said openly he doesn't really care about heel or face dynamics. He has a bad problem of selling in most of his matches, and his psychology is kind of off in some matches, not always, but just sometimes. And Bryan Danielson is just crisp, perfect. He knows the dynamics. He works with the dynamics. He knows how to get to a crowd. As boring, some people think his matches are really boring, but he knows how to draw them into his matches, and that's why I think he's so good. All of his matches are great. Great technical wrestler. I can appreciate it for what it is. You know, while Davey, like, I don't like it when like wrestlers just throw that all away. Like, I remember the most recent example, I think Davey, not most recent, but I do remember Davey had his match with Mtisit at Fearless, and Mtisit literally pounded and pounded and pounded on the knee for the whole match. And then when Davey was making his comeback, Mtisit literally kicked him twice. And it wasn't like fighting spirit. It wasn't like Davey said, yeah, come on. No, he just like no sold it, and then Davey kicked him. And then they did it back and forth, and didn't come off that good to me. Austinariesmark, thoughts on Austinariesmark? Like him, love him on the mic, love him on the mic, love him in the ring. That's all I can say, really. Nstopdriver, next TNA World Champ. Who and why? Most would probably say Kurt Angle because they're building to this thing for Bound for Glory, and in that sense. But while I do like Kurt Angle, I'm not a big fan of RVD being champ. I did not want RVD to beat AJ. I agree with Double Cross King. I thought AJ should have held the belt until Bound for Glory, as a face, maybe even. And then if you're gonna have RVD take the belt, you know, it's better off to do it there, even at a pay-per-view, not just on a throwaway TV match after lockdown. So I don't like that in that sense. But as far as you know, a person who can carry this company, while they might not be at that stage now, I have said this before. Instant Classic G1 has said this before. Anderson and the Pope could be the Austin and the Rock of this company if they use them right. The fans are into them. Their match skills are great. Their charisma is awesome. The wrestling ability for Anderson could be better, but it's still good. It's passable. And Pope's is very good, obviously. I think one of those two, if you want to carry TNA in the right direction, one of those two from this point should be the next world champion. But again, I think like right now, especially Pope, I don't think, well, Pope was ready. Now he's not. But at this time, like right now, it's not right. But you know, down the line, by next year, I think they should be world champion. But I do think it's going to be Angle most likely, or RVD will carry the belt and maybe give it to one of them, or maybe give it back to AJ. The Eugene 2009. Recently, in the WWE, I've noticed that moves, especially finishing moves, are not being brought with as much force, and I feel it detaches the viewer from the match. Is this because wrestlers are unwilling to risk injury, or is this a company-mandated rule? An example would be the go to sleep, where it seems it is so noticeably far from connecting, they might as well not use it. I don't think it's a company-mandated rule. I think it's just like, you know, the wrestlers don't want to hurt each other. Like WWE has this mentality. Kevin Nash had this mentality a lot in the 90s that you can't hurt your opponent. No matter what, you can't hurt your opponent. That's the whole purpose of wrestling in their minds. And I think they're just trying to protect their opponent as much as they can. Because it's like in Ring of Honor style. Like WWE, they have a busy schedule. And you really can't risk any of your big-time wrestlers getting injured for quite some time. Won't do well for your company. So I can understand them being a little more careful, a little more protective than most people. They go to sleep. I really don't have that much of a problem with it. I have a problem with it when he does it to big guys like Kane and it doesn't work. If, and it would never happen, both companies promoted one single joint pay-per-view, TNA versus WWE, I know that the pay-per-view buys would skyrocket. My question is, which company would benefit more, WWE or TNA? Definitely TNA. More exposure. People can look at their roster against the WWE talent and kind of see how much faster paced, how much more athletic, how much quicker the style is than in the WWE, and it might garner some more fans, although now, I don't think WWE would ever do that, but yeah, like you said. Should WWE sign Sanjay Dutt, drop Khali's worthless manager, and have Dutt and Khali as a tag team? Sanjay Dutt in WWE style would have to be extremely toned down if he was ever to go to the WWE, to the point where I might not like him as much. But Dutt and Khali would be a million times better than Khali and Ranjan. It could be an interesting tag team. They can't be heels, in my opinion. To me, that won't work. I think it'd be best if they were faces. It could be a fun tag team, but the bottom line is Khali's slow, can't move, and Sanjay's quick and athletic. And when you put them both in the same ring in a tag team match, the style will drastically change when one tags into the other. And it won't be as fun. Although you can do the big man little thing, the hot tags would be more interesting. Khali would look a million times better with that as his tag team partner. Okay, next question. What do you think the reason is that title reigns now are shorter than they were in the 80s and before, like San Martino's 8-year reign? I think it has to do with, now I guess with people don't like really more of the stale characters. People really can't buy into these longer champions. It makes for an uninteresting product. I mean, look at Cena. Cena got a huge backlash in 2007 and late 2006 because he was all over the TV. And the fans didn't like that. And I think it's not like the 1970s anymore, or even the 1960s, or even before that. You can't have a champion on your TV for 8 years without the people getting massively de-interested into his character and won't take him and won't get into him as much as they used to before. His star power will be greatly lowered. Cena was hated in '07 and '06 by a lot of people in the WWE and in the internet wrestling community because he was champion for such a long period of time. That's why No Mercy 2007 did an excellent buy rate for a pay-per-view that had no main event. When Cena Orton got scrapped because Cena got injured, that show had no main event, and it did a great buy rate for a B show. I think it got like 280, 290, something like that for a B show, because not just that people knew there would be a new champion, but people had seen John Cena as the champion for an entire year, and they didn't like it anymore. They wanted someone new. So doing another champion for 8 years, I don't think is going to work at all. Why do women open their mouths when applying mascara? Talking to the wrong guy. I don't put on mascara, sorry. Led Zeppelin and The Who, what kind of music do you like? I really don't like a set style of music. Because I like really all the different styles, but if there's a song that like I really like, it could be from anything. Really, like you should look at my iPod. I have songs from basically every single type of music. It really is not about the music. It's more of the artist. It's more of my personal favorite song, or if I like listening to it and this and that, stuff like that. Also, have you seen the film Inception? And so, what did you think of it? I did see it, and I thought it was amazing. I thought it was better than The Dark Knight. So there have been so few movies that get me to think, to delve into a movie, to think about a movie, to care about a movie, to process the movie in a way that Inception did. Inception had my mind focused from start to finish. People have complained that it's too long, and for those people I say go fuck yourself, because this movie was incredible to watch for me. It was like a little puzzle, everything fit. Now, I will admit, I was very confused on Limbo. That was the only thing that confused me. I didn't really know what Limbo was. I did not know, because they said in the beginning that he was stuck in Limbo for 50 years, but apparently you can just get out if you want, but apparently he stayed there. They stayed there by choice, even though they have kids in the real world. So I got all confused with Limbo. I figured it out thanks to Chase, who I got berated for not knowing it as well, but, there was it's an amazing movie. One of the best movies I've ever seen ever in my life. I definitely want to go see it again. I've been really busy last few weeks. And I definitely think everyone has to see that movie right now. I mean, it might be confusing for some, but really just apply yourself mentally and you will enjoy the movie. When the BDK is over, by Happy Killers. When the BDK is older, should Pinky Sanchez keep the crazy gimmick and involvement to a loose cannon gimmick? I don't necessarily to copy Brian Pillman, but the character he has now, I've said it before, is very underrated in the BDK, and I would like this character to continue. Although, for some reason, I have a feeling if not in the BDK, Pinky's going to go through another character change. So that's my only problem. But yeah, if he keeps the character he has now outside of the BDK in the future, Chikara, more to him. WWE Master 686. What is your favorite ROH show from 2007, and what would the rating of that show be? 07. There are a lot of good ones. I like Man Up. I like Driven. I like Good Times, Great Memories. I don't like to be repetitive, but those are the 3 best shows from 2007. The best of all of them, in my opinion, personally, I enjoyed Man Up the most. I would give Man Up like a 9.5. But Driven, people say, is one of the best shows in ROH history, and people give Driven a 9.5, 9.75. Purely because the Danielson-Kenta match, the Danielson-McGuinness match, the Briscoes versus Austinariesmark match, and one more match. But for me, Man Up was just so much fun to watch, so much easier to watch, so much easier to sit through, that for me personally, I would go with Man Up. Yeah, that's probably my favorite one. Man Up, 9.5. Do you think that, from Trademark 629, do you think that PWG 7 has a chance of being as good as Death Forward Dishonor 8, or maybe surpassing it? The card looks so stacked that I decided to compare it to the current show of the year. I don't think it was. Partly because Alex Shelley got hurt, so they couldn't do the machine guns versus Peligro Abejas, which would have added a lot to that card. But they made it a triple threat guerrilla warfare, which I personally at first I loved, but the more I thought about it, I was just like, really, we really have to do this a triple threat guerrilla warfare. I mean, it's just because I think 2-on-2 Young Bucks, and I personally think Young Bucks and Color Bros would have even had a better match, because it's not like so all over the place. It would have been more concentrated, would have had a better story to it, a better flow to it. But it looked like it was a great show. Danielson Strong apparently was nowhere near as good as people thought it would be. The Guns match never took place. Sabin Tozawa was just okay, I heard. I think it's a great show, but I don't think it's going to pass the Forward Dishonor.